Yeah. So welcome everybody and thank you for coming. And so now let's just do a couple of notes, mainly for the people that watch it afterwards on YouTube. So the books are all online free. The Ascended Master books, that's iamfree.co.za. And that includes audiobooks. There's loads of audiobooks, absolutely marvelous. And so you can listen, you can print them out, download them, read them online. They're just priceless and really important information for us. And then for us on Zoom, there's time for questions and sharing after the session. We can open our videos and put on our mics. And then just, yeah, to go through the material slowly. Um, so there's a link where to begin, or begin here at the top of the website. And there'll be more links in the description boxes below the YouTube related specifically to the elemental kingdom, which is obviously really helpful for us because it's something we've got to really learn to work with and cooperate with our beloved elementals. And then donations gratefully received if financially possible. So we're just going to start. Whoops, I think someone's got their mic open. I'll just put that off there. Trish, beloved Trish, can you read the opening invocation for us?
Yes, Auntie, I can. Thank you.
Thank
Good
you.
evening. Before reading the words of a master, we say together with our mics muted, as suggested by beloved Lord Kathumi, beloved presence of God I am, it is thy life and intelligence that enables me to read and comprehend and absorb that which is required of me. For life, I am so grateful. Beloved Master Katumi, I ask for your feeling and your capacity to use this instruction for God's glory and mankind's comfort. We thank you. And now, great I am presence, take me within thyself. There, instruct me and cause me to retain the full memory of these inner instructions. Thank you. From beloved Saint Germain.
Oh, bless you. Thank you so much, beloved Trish. So the beloved element, now I know we've already been through this at the workshop today, but I mean, I can hear it every time and I still learn. It's just something, and we've all got to, I do believe, become very aware of the consciousness and intelligence of our beloved elemental kingdom. And as Saint Germain has repeated often in the books, that, in order for us to really create the heaven on earth, we have to be very cooperative and learn about our elemental kingdom and our angelic kingdom, because between those two kingdoms, which are the three kingdoms on our beloved planet, we will again create that heaven on earth, which we have to do again. So it's really so important for us. So here it is. So there's the three main kingdoms evolving. There's the human kingdom, which is us. And so we need to be the bridge between the angelic kingdom, which brings the feelings to each one of us, and the elemental kingdom, which responds to our thought and becomes the form that we hold in our mind. And that's how we all used to create. We used to precipitate from universal light substance. So that's what we will be going back to, because it's in our etheric bodies, it's in our memory bodies. We just have to resurrect it again and start to practice it and bring it into form, I believe. So we have the possibility, we can all precipitate, because in the atmosphere is everything. So like, for instance, if we want to precipitate an avocado pear, we can do it. We just have to get the feeling, the scent of it, and create one, because the elemental light will respond to our thoughts and feelings when we put enough love and we hold that thought form clear enough. That's what the Ascended Masters tell us. So this is how we do it in the workshops, but just to understand more relationship that we have to the elemental kingdom. This is from the electrons in the elemental kingdom. And so they say originally the earth was created of pure substance, not so dense as it is now. And there were many translucent, radiating, iridescent colors. And as the discord of mankind increased, the substance of earth became soiled, more dense and dark due to the millions of years of decayed compacted matter. So this is why earth or ground is called soil. So we're told also that, if we look at the stars in the sky at night, they are not, they shine continually, both day and night. Now we know that because on one side we've got the night and we see the stars. On the other side, well, they've got the night, they see the stars. And so they don't have night like we have. And the reason for the night is that the sun can't shine through our beloved planet as it does with all the other stars and planets. They're the same thing, stars or planets. And every star has life on it. And the brighter the star, the more highly evolved is the life living on that star, because elemental life outpictures exactly what the evolving humanity, or whatever they're called on those various stars, is. So the higher the consciousness, the brighter and the purer the life streams living on the star, the brighter our beloved planet will become. And so there is a sun in the center of our earth, and that's where the actual threefold flame, the permanent atom for the earth, is held. That's why it's very important that we be start. In fact, all the soil will eventually be transmuted and literally transmuted and changed into pure substance through the use of the violet flame. And this may take many years, but it will eventually happen like that, because we never used to have soil. When we fell from grace, the fall of man, is when we started to decay, and so did the elemental kingdom, because they were out picturing what we were actually doing. So that's why we've got all this decayed matter. It never used to be like that. We used to precipitate beautiful flame flowers and beautiful trees and shrubs and things, and they would be dematerialize when their life they'd fulfilled their lifetime, their lifespan. So it wasn't like this. So that's why we have the soil. So nature never produced anything that would be destructive to mankind, but as it is the duty of elemental life to obey the commands of individuals endowed with the threefold flame in their hearts, which is us. That's the anchorage of our mighty iron presence within our hearts. They have been absorbing mankind's discordant thoughts and feelings. This has caused tornadoes, hurricanes, tidal waves, earthquakes, and all the disasters of nature, which is merely an endeavor by these beings to throw off the impurity and discord which mankind has imposed upon them for millions of years. So we are responsible for all the disasters of nature. So waste matter that has been put into the earth and the waters, and the impure energy that goes into the air, has caused a pressure of human creation, not only on mankind, but on the elemental kingdom too. So the destructive activities of nature can be controlled by mankind, who understand the law and understand how to make the calls through our decrees to release the elemental beings from the discord imposed upon them. So we learn how to make these decrees, and through those decrees we call to our I Am Presence and the ascended beings to assist in actually transmuting the discord that has been taken. Now our beloved elemental has to suffer at our hands with every thought, feeling, word, and action that mankind produces that is not perfect. So one can call to the I Am Presence and the ascended beings, the ascended to the masters or beings in charge of the element and who govern such activities, to direct into and enfold the conditions in their cosmic flame and transmute all discord and flood them with cosmic love. And then we visualize the violet flame going forth from our presence and the great beings, transmuting the discord into peace and harmony. Next, we see the pink flame of love enfold the beings of the elements, making them happy and free again. So in the case of fire, we can call to our I Am Presence and beloved Lady Master Nada to pour her radiance over the fire. We visualize this radiance as a pink blanket. One can also call to Aromasis, Prince of the Fire Element, and his divine complement, Holy Diana. Also, we can call to Aries and Thor to change the direction of the wind. And I've personally experienced this where the elemental life, that's exactly what happened. The fire was literally put back on itself through the wind. And Lady Nada, when we make the calls and they're sincere and earnest in our desire to help the elemental life, she blankets them all in this pink blanket of pure divine love. And they all respond to that. And they say, wise is he who will earnestly endeavor to purify his own world and make friends with the little beings of nature, pouring love, gratitude, and blessings to these beings who so ceaselessly and selflessly serve mankind, if he wishes protection in times of crisis. Within man is the kingdom of the mind, where the elementals responding to his thought become the form which he holds in his mind. Within mankind is also the emotional world, which is the kingdom of the angels, to which they respond, amplifying every virtue, every tiny pulsation of hope, purity, peace, love, kindness, or all the God feelings, all the good God feelings. The angels amplify them in us, because it's like a magnet. They're drawn to those feelings. So the mind is the magnetic center for the elemental kingdom, and the feeling world is the magnetic center for the angelic kingdom. So within mankind one day, both shall be blended consciously, and mankind will be master through controlled energy in the feelings, coupled with definitely directed thought, to be a bridge between the two great kingdoms. And these three kingdoms will again reunite in worship, in service, in evolution, and in God happiness for eternity. So the elemental kingdom must learn control of energy through thought to hold a constructive pattern and design so that you and all people may enjoy the perfection designed in the nature temples. And after this, when we finish just reading this little bit, we're going to listen to the story of how the great Elohim of peace actually had to learn to become a 5-petaled yellow flower. But he was one of the creators of this planet. So obviously it was not on this planet that he started his evolutionary process, but how they also evolve through the process till eventually they become the great builders of planets, whole solar systems. So it's just quite extraordinary. It's just the most lovely story of how this beloved little being, this little elemental, had to learn to become a 5-petaled yellow flower until eventually he became a great Elohim, and he was the one on peace on the 6th ray. Anyway, the angelic kingdom must learn control of the feelings to hold within themselves the virtue they have chosen until directed to release it in one of need. And mankind must learn control of both and thus become a master. So it's time that mankind recognize the service and send to both the elemental kingdom and the angelic kingdom the recognition and love which they so deserve for their constant service to mankind. So without the elemental kingdom, there would be no form. Literally, there's deserts. So wherever there's deserts on this planet, it's where there's been a great amount of misuse of life. They literally, the directors of our planet, the head of the hierarchy, they removed the elemental life, they removed the angelic life, and we just got deserts. There's still the earth elementals there, some of them. God bless them, each one. Anyway, the angelic kingdom, without the angelic kingdom, mankind could not draw the blessings from the Godhead, which is the feelings. So now we're going to listen to this. This is the 7 steps to creation. So it's also really important to actually take note of the 7 steps, because it's how we create everything, whether we're creating homes, whether we're creating relationships, whether we're creating businesses, whatever we decide to create. We basically use the same 7 steps. And so it's just so beautifully told by the great beloved Elohim of peace, how he became a 5-petaled yellow flower on a planet millions of years ago. So here it is. This is an account by our great Elohim of peace on the 7 steps to creation. An excerpt from The 7 Mighty Elohim Speak on the 7 Steps to Precipitation by Thomas Prince, a Bridge to Freedom publication. Some of you already know that the evolution of the Elohim is through the elemental kingdom, elemental meaning mind of God. Each of us started out as small elemental beings, belonging to some different system, different galaxies at different times, I was one among those elementals who followed the exact order of creation. You have seen universal elemental light filling the atmosphere. Those tiny electrons seem to be going nowhere, just flitting hither and yon in the sunshine. You see, when one is first God created, there is complete freedom to just enjoy oneself. That is where some folks get the idea of heaven as being a place of eternal enjoyment, rest, and a place where you do as you please. They remember backward, for this is not looking forward. And I warn you ahead of time, the future is not going to be like that. Those were your pre-Eden days. Long, long ago, I was one of these tiny elementals, flitting hither and yon in my universe. Whenever I felt like it, attaching myself to some light ray projected by some being of whom I was scarcely cognizant. At times I rode upon a great beam of light, which was destined to become part of a star or some other lovely God creation. I had no responsibilities and no obligations. This same freedom is given to all of God's creations. For instance, your ion presence, when first created, was permitted to go through each of the 7 spheres of activity around the sun, find that sphere in which it was most interested, stay in any temple as long as it liked, at the feet of any master for any length of time it desired. The angels have like freedom. When first created, they transport themselves in glory and light, and eventually become part of the virtues of faith, hope, charity, or any God virtue they please. These angels live in the temples of their choice. They absorb and just are. Then suddenly one day there came a feeling within me that I wanted to be a conscious part of creation. When this takes place within anyone, it means that the activity of the first ray is born within them, the will to do. So it was with me. Then I sought out someone whom I knew could tell me just what to do. And when I had found such a one, I was told that if I dared to go to a certain nature temple, I could learn how to build form, perhaps a flower. To do this, together with others of like intent, I had to learn to hold the thought form shown to us on the altar by the presiding diva, our instructor. After enrolling myself as a student in this nature temple, my first assignment was to build a 5-petaled yellow flower, and I shall never forget it. Oh, there must have been a couple of 100 of us in the class, all quite as irresponsible as myself. We could hear beautiful music outside the temple. The air was so lovely and fresh. Beautiful beings of light were passing through the atmosphere outside the windows, and the holding of the pattern of that flower got so monotonous. I can tell you. However, the diva just stood there on the altar, and, from himself, he externalized the pattern of this flower, which we were to learn to create. He tried to catch our thoughts and focus them upon that flower. But I soon found that just the will to do was not enough. They must follow the other 6 steps of creation to perfect the activity. Then suddenly perception came into my mind, and I thought, yes, this is a part of creation, and I perceived, at least, what the diva wanted me to try and do. Up until that time, I just enjoyed the fragrance, the color, the symmetry of form of that flower. I did not feel that I wanted to do anything more. As that feeling of perception took possession of me, I consciously tried. Oh, but that first form that I attempted to create was certainly a distorted one. It was sort of square. It did not have enough petals, nor did it have the right fragrance. Besides, just as soon as I took my attention away from it, the form was gone. Now, some in the class were still not very concentrated on their attention, and they were still flitting around. However, those of us who really meant business finally moved up to the front of the room, nearer the altar. Well, as we continued to absorb the instruction and tried again and again, finally one day the little yellow flower appeared in my hands, and I had the right fragrance for my flower. But, my goodness, just as I was about to present it to the diva, one of the archangels went by the window, and my attention being drawn by his great magnificent light, it left the flower for an instant. When I looked back at my hand, the flower was gone. Just a lack of concentration, you see. Now these divas do not speak at all. They give their instruction through radiation. Our teacher diva suggested to us that, if we wanted to create these flowers consciously, we could add beauty and perfection to a season of spring on some lovely planet, which the Elohim in charge of that planet were to beautify for the blessing of an evolution of living souls. As I thought about this, love for my endeavor was born within me. I felt I wanted to make that little flower perfect enough, fragrant enough, beautiful enough, and make it last long enough to really bless some part of life. That was the third aspect of divinity, love, you see. Then I forgot myself and the distraction of those who were going by outside. Then I really wanted to create that flower, and I stayed with it. What happened then? I received an assignment. The divas do not assign one to the task of even becoming an apple blossom until they know you will stay with the task long enough to complete it. In my assignment, I think there were about 700 of us directed to adorn one big tree. Incidentally, the yellow flower I was to create does not grow on your earth, nor does such a tree. Perhaps one day it shall. Here came another lesson which I did not learn at once. Our teacher reminded us that when we went to that planet with the great diva, we would see all different kinds of trees. He warned us to watch and see that our individual flower to be created did not become just like that which we saw on some other shrub or tree. I forgot his admonition, and mine did. I saw pink flowers, blue ones, white ones, and by the time I was through looking at them all, I had nothing definite of my own in mind, and therefore no manifestation. Then I learned the fourth lesson, the purity of holding to the divine pattern, which had been given to me in the beginning. When we finally went back to our nature temple, or schoolroom, none of us who had lost out was at all proud of his accomplishments. You see, those in charge always prepare many more elementals than they know will be needed for a certain creation. And, therefore, the creation was completed by those who could do the work. I did not volunteer so quickly for the next experience, I can tell you. However, within myself I determined that I would hold the pattern of that yellow flower until I had brought it forth into perfection. Finally, I did not even have to volunteer. My teacher, Diva, in mercy, said to me one day, "All right, you may go and try again." This time I closed my eyes, my mind, my attention to everything but becoming that yellow flower. Yet there remained even more for me to remember, constancy, for I allowed my petals to fall before spring was over. I had to learn the fifth activity of constancy and concentration until the Diva called me home. Because of my lack of constancy, and after the premature falling of my petals, I was home a whole month before the others. I must tell you that I did not go into the temple for quite a while. I walked up and down outside, but I did not go in. At last I had to go in. You know that. Wherever you are and whatever you volunteer to do, you must finish some day. It is the same thing with humanity. They may play around as long as they wish, waste their time, but one day they must finish their course, fulfill their divine plan. Sooner or later, perhaps with your feathers trailing, you will go back to the fulfilling of your original divine plan. When we gathered again before the Diva in the nature temple, I was seated far back in the last row. I was small of stature, and I thought I would not be too easily seen there. Thinking to myself, I said, I shall not go out again, I shall just stay right here. However, next time we were taught the lesson of rhythm. Here I learned that I had to hold the purity of form, and that I had to stay at my post until I was released by the being who had sent me forth. That was constancy. Then, amazingly, I learned that I had to go every spring. My goodness, I thought going once was a major achievement, but I learned the lesson of rhythm. Yellow flower, yellow flower, yellow flower, over and over and over again, each and every spring. I shall not attempt to tell you how many springtimes I became a yellow flower. Doing it once was a novelty, even a dozen times was fun, but every spring seemed to me like a long, steady, relentless grind. Obedience, obedience, obedience to the end. The last step I had to learn in this process of creation was to hold the peace. The last time that diva told me that I was going to be a yellow flower again, I nearly lost the whole course. You see, in the meantime, others of my friends had become beautiful trees, shrubs, and other lovely creations, but I was still a little tiny yellow flower. So you see, I had to learn to hold the peace. Peace which I became myself, mind you, in a far distant future scheme. So if you are one of those little yellow flowers, learn to hold your peace. Perhaps one day you will be a sun to a system. Who knows what anyone's use of free will may do. At last, on this final trip, I just let go. I really did. I thought, if God wills it, I shall be this blossom for eternity. That was my last trip. That absolute surrender gave me my release, and that time when I returned to my diva in the nature temples, he crowned my service of the ages. Ages, I said, with victory. Then I was graduated into the Divic kingdom. For a long time I served and worked with increasing efficiency until I finally took the initiation of the Elohim. Later, when given opportunity by the call from beloved Helios and Vesta for those who would volunteer to build for them this dear planet Earth, I voluntarily joined the other 6 Elohim to render that service. We served together in association, both for the joy of comradeship and the joy of creation. All right, we're just going to skip straight on because of time constraints here. So now, actually, we're going to listen to another video. So we've got many videos today because it's actually the words straight from the beloved Ascended Masters, and it's better than human words. There's no question about it. So I just like to take these readings from the Ascended Masters and actually make the videos because it just is just a great way to get the words out there. And so this is actually from Pelia and Virgo. So they are the directors of the earth elementals on our beloved earth. And also there's the directors of the water elementals, the air and the fire elementals. And so when in the description box at the bottom, once it's on YouTube, I'll put the other links for all of those there. But this time we don't have time in this session, but we're going to go listen to Pelia and Virgo. But at the end of each of their what they say to us, there's a time when we can actually make a decree. So I'll read the decree and then you can say it, but you keep your mics muted because on Zoom it doesn't work to all speak together. But it's a lovely decree to say to help our beloved elementals. This is an excerpt from Friendship with the Gods, and it is from beloved God Pelia, who is the guardian of the threefold flame in the center of the earth and its civilization, and he is the divine complement of beloved Virgo, who is the goddess of the earth, Mother Earth. And he says, "Beloved Virgo, beloved ladies and gentlemen here assembled, I am Pelia, the actual power which holds the earth in her place in the solar system. Come now from lethargy into light, and understand that the very earth herself, even as her axis is bended, would not remain, nor would the souls belonging to this planet remain on this small globe if it were not for the cohesive power of my love, which science chooses to call the gravity pull of the earth. Think on it. When you place your feet one before the other on an appointed task, human or divine, if there was no cohesive power, which is the power of love divine, beneath your feet, you would sail into outer space. Even in the process of walking, you can be grateful for that cohesive power which we maintain in the very center of the earth, where the masculine and the feminine rays of beloved Himalaya and beloved Meru join, and where the great spirit of cosmic Christ peace serves with me constantly, holding the substance of the earth and radiating from its center to its periphery the love and the light of our beings. That love is the actual substance on which you stand. It is a substance which makes up the chairs upon which you are seated. It is that love which holds all beings who belong to this evolution and have been accepted by this evolution in the orbit of the earth. It is that love which has accepted again, again, and again the excrement of human life, and through kindness transmuted it into purity and perfection. Beloved Virgo speaks of the mischievous nature of the gnomes, which I can confirm, but where else is his joy, living as he does for the most part under the surface of the earth, and performing those tasks of preparation for every season of the year to bring the harvest, performing those tasks of transmutation. Think on it. Their service is not one of complete and absolute joy, but it shall so become. They have causal bodies too, miniature ones. Every gnome, sylph, undine, and salamander has a little band of light, which is its own record for the good which it has done throughout the centuries of being. That record will, as in the case of humankind, be read when the greater positions of trust and authority in the elemental kingdom are open. There will be those always who are ready to fill them. Thus we represent, as do all those who have preceded us, the power of contraction and expansion. The earth breathes, you know, and through its many pores comes the pink light from its center. When the earth does not breathe, you witness a certain portion, if not in person at least, in picturization, where great destruction was done. The earth for the time did not breathe there. And what have you? Desert sands upon which nothing can grow, or barren swamps. All that is in the process of redemption. Now take your own bodies. Would you care to have 10 billion people utilize your own physical body as they desire for 24 hours? I think not. Then think how we, the directors of the elements, together with our own kingdoms, feel when we have given our very body's life in patience to have them so imperfectly used. It is not the part of kindness nor of wisdom. I am strong in my endeavor to convey to you the power which lies within cooperation with the directors of the elements now, and then should there arise an occasion where individuals or any living thing requires assistance, your being our God friends could give and will give that calming balance, peace and understanding, even though you may not have to speak a word. It is in the now, today, that we ask that peace be created between you and the beings of nature. Right, we're going to say the decree so we can say it together. Beloved, I am presence. Through your love, power, and authority, I invoke. Beloved Archangels Chamuel and Charity, Zadkiel and Amethyst, and beloved Zarathustra. Send your legions of angels north, south, east, and west to all vortices of distressed, distorted, and destructive elemental life. Let these beloved angels draw these elementals into their own bodies of love and light and set them eternally free from that which was never meant to be. Replace all with the immaculate concept and the divine plan fulfilled for each blessed one. Illumine the source so this energy is never misqualified again. And I call on the law of forgiveness for myself and all mankind for every electron that has been misqualified back to the very beginning of time. Bless, love, thank, and purify all the elementals that have served us ceaselessly and selflessly for eons of time. And so be it, and so it is, and it is done. Beloved I am, we thank you. And now we listen to an address by beloved Lady Virgo, Mother Earth she is. This is an address by beloved Lady Virgo, Mother Earth, the divine complement of Lord Pellier. She says, "Blessed and beloved, you who are my guests upon this earth, I thank you for assisting in the purification of this planet. Now eons have passed since first you came to me from distant stars and enjoyed the pleasure of the sweet earth, every electron of which is made up of my own electronic body. Every electron which has been temporarily despoiled shall be returned in this era and age to the glory of the ascended Master Saint Germain, and you serving upon this earth to that purity and perfection and protection again. It has been my joy to be the nourishment, through the energies of my being, of every harvest you have known. It has been my joy to be the platform upon which your blessed feet have stood, as well as that of the glorious ascended Master Jesus and the beloved Buddha's feet, who is now the Lord of the world. Those imprints yet remain upon the breast of the substance of this earth. We too have been patient, I think you will agree, with not only those who have loved us and who have enjoyed serving with us, but also with those who have taken our life and used it to their own personal advantage, not blessing any part of life with their gifts. The vibratory action of our patience is stepped down into our element, just as you channel from your causal bodies the gifts and powers into your Holy Christ flame. Do we channel into the gnomes and all those in our element that patience which sustains their service, and to bless forever the opportunity given, even by a recalcitrant mankind, to serve them, for they grow thereby. I think of all the smaller beings, the most mischievous are the gnomes that are not on the ascendery, but who are engaged in mirroring some of the distortions seen around them, and some little ones on occasion have been called before us to be reprimanded. It would be wise indeed if you, in any case regarding the salamanders, the sylphs, the gnomes, or the undines, would ask us to help you to bless them and to hold them in their perfect place as co-workers with you, for this is our reason for being. You do not always know how much elemental life might be playing games with you, so to speak, therefore causing you unnecessary discomfort. But you can make the call to us, and we in turn will see that those elements of the most constructive type and nature are the servants of your life streams. We will remove and place in schools for re-education those who have gotten out of line. We do that anyway, but with your conscious understanding of it and calls to us and the directors of these beings, we can give you assistance. There is in you a lot of the earth. Of the earth is an earthly expression. Well, that means there is in you a great deal of myself, and as we accelerate the vibratory action of the entire planet, that substance of earth which is within you that is good will accelerate with me and become part of the light of the world. Therefore I ask you to bless the landed surface of the earth and the gnomes who are within it, and be so grateful indeed for all beings who, for the most part unseen, serve not only around you, but make up the very structure of your physical vehicles. Time after time after time, as you take embodiment, those little beings, at the close of this embodiment, through the power of transmutation, through the gift of the beloved Serapis Bey, and the Brotherhood at Luxor, and the great Ascended Master Saint Germain, and the violet flame shall be purified, and return to the sun, and form then a part of the glory of your causal body, as you work as God-free beings, never again hampered by human creation. All right, now we've got another lovely decree to say. Beloved Iron Presence, I invoke the great directors of the elemental kingdom, beloved Virgo and Pellier, Neptune and Lunara, Aries and Thor, Prince Ramesses and Holy Diana. I call for cosmic blessings, love, and gratitude to saturate our beloved elementals, both animate and so-called inanimate, and for whatever assistance possible the cosmic law will allow to enable me and all mankind to work lovingly, cooperatively, and harmoniously with the beloved gnomes, undines, sylphs, and salamanders to purify and restore our beloved planet Earth to her original glorious pristine beauty and perfection, and the freedom of Saint Germain's permanent golden age manifests now. We thank you for this opportunity to serve the light. Beloved I am, and directors of the elemental kingdom, let thy will be done here and now, and we thank you. Thank
And here we seem to have lost the sound.
Oh, sorry, beloved. I'm busy chatting away here. I didn't unmute myself. Thank you, Trish, beloved. So yeah, those ones will be, the links will be for Neptune and Lunara, Aries and Thor, Prince Ramesses and Holy Diana will be in the description box below the YouTube for those watching on YouTube afterwards. And there's lovely things also on the website. You can get them. But I also want to just tell you a quick story about how when we were in our Cape Town sanctuary, we had we were invited by a friend who was definitely, he was also part of the sanctuary, but definitely part of the elemental kingdom, because sometimes elementals actually ask to be vested with that threefold flame and to be, to actually come down in a human form and help our planet. Anyway, he invited us for tea in Constantia there. I mean, he had a big sort of hedge around his property, and we got there, and Norman, who often used to get his inner sight opened, he got his inner sight opened then, and he saw all these little elementals. They were super excited. They were jumping up and down, welcome, welcome, welcome. And they were doing cartwheels and handstands and all sorts of things on this hedge. Then they jumped down and they came and they stood next to us. And Norman could see them clearly. He said there were tall ones, like almost up to his shoulder. And then there was sort of tiny little ones. They told him their names and and he could see what they were dressed in. So it was just so wonderful. It really brought the reality of our beloved elementals. But because they're in a higher frequency, the actual elemental beings, we often don't see them, but some people do. So it's just a lovely thing. And so now we're going to listen to Journey of the Electrons. It's just such very short, but very important for us, I believe. Journey of the Electrons by the beloved Mahachohan. This is from the Bridge to Freedom, Electrons and the Elemental Kingdom. You know that every electron has form, color, and an identity within itself. If you will take a moment to think of the countless millions of these minute electrons which are sent forth from the Supreme Source on the activity of the breath through which life is sustained in everyone, you will just touch the fringe of the magnitude of the love of the Father, Mother, God for their children through the gift of life. Through the activity of magnetic attraction, these electrons travel on the vibration of light to your individualized I Am Presence, and in rhythmic pulsation, the I Am Presence sends them on their journey with the gifts and powers of the life stream which have been accumulated in the causal body. The individual is thus blessed as the electrons abide with him or pass through the lower vehicles for the enrichment of the universe. These tiny electrons leave the heart of the Father, Mother, God in great happiness at being privileged to carry the gifts and blessings of the Creator of us all, But when they reach the human kingdom, the vibratory action of the life stream, who is the specific beneficiary, imposes upon them the quality of energy pulsating in the emotional, mental, etheric, and physical bodies. These blessed electrons are often battered and buffeted so violently that their identity is hidden by the infliction of imperfection upon them. They come forth in obedient love and are required to accept the garment which the life stream provides for them. Further, they must continue on their journey in the world of form, clothed in that garment, and if it should be one of imperfection, remain in that vibratory action until the individual decides to remove the discord which has been imposed upon them. Can you not see why the Chela, who is privileged to know of the sacred fire, should never weary in the task of purifying his lower garments? You have all done well, but there are still many tiny beings of light who must obediently live with you or go to the destination to which you send them with bowed heads and a feeling of depression and heaviness because you chose to misqualify God's holy energy. I counsel you to have respect for all life, and in so doing you will not wish to inflict upon that life anything but the love, beauty, peace, harmony of the perfection ordained for all life. Yeah, oh my goodness. It's so there's just training for us, all of us, humanity. This is very short, it's just a moment, but I do like to play this because this is Emoto, and I'm sure we've all heard of it, Dr. Emoto, but just how it impacts also on our own physical bodies.
In 1994, Dr. Masaru Emoto conducted a groundbreaking experiment that revealed the shocking power of your words on water. He asked his students to speak negative words like, "I hate you," "You're worthless," to one set of water bottles. To another set, they spoke positive words like, "I love you," "Thank you," and "I'm grateful." When the water was frozen and viewed under a microscope, the results were shocking. The water exposed to negative words formed chaotic, disfigured structures, while the water blessed with positive words created stunning, symmetrical crystals. Over 70% of your body is water. That means your words don't just float into the air, they sink into every cell in your body, shaping your health, mood, and energy. Imagine what happens when you listen to positive affirmations daily. Start reprogramming your mind with affirmations to uplift your cells. Click the link in our bio to try Inner Tune for free.
There we have it. So it just shows, not only for ourselves, but for all life, the importance of maintaining that positivity, that happiness, because happiness really is what we're all seeking. And as we know, it really impacts very positively on our lives and our worlds. All right, so now we're going to listen. This is also very important, blessing all life. It's another short one, but a very important lesson for us all, how really conscious and intelligent all life is and how it loves to be loved. This is an excerpt from Electrons and the Elemental Kingdom from the Bridge to Freedom material, compiled by Werner Schroeder, The Central Sun, the Distributing Center, by the beloved Mahachohan. The great central sun is a distributing center through which the soul light flows, which forms the body of God and fills the universe. All the planets and stars in interstellar space are composed of this electronic substance, and through this substance constantly flows the rhythmic breath of the great first cause, or the great central sun, which is the heart center and head of this particular universal scheme. Through the great central sun came the smaller suns, of which Helios is one, there being 7 in this system. Around these smaller suns move the planets of each system. That is the large and expansive scope of vision. Let us now see the physical sun, sending forth millions and millions of smaller suns, which represent your life stream and every other life stream belonging to this system of worlds, each one endowed with self-conscious intelligence and given as much of the body of God as they choose to utilize to create perfection. You see, my children, each and every one of you is a sun in embryo. The electrons that fill the universe, which you term the atmosphere, and which even form the substance of the material gifts which you use so freely, are the body of God. They have come from a pure, clean heart center, which is the heart of heaven. They are imprisoned temporarily in the forms created by man, yet they pulsate constantly with life. They have intelligence within them, and they are aspiring, like all of you, toward the full expression of their own godliness. Every table, every chair, every book, every carelessly scrapped piece of paper has within it living organisms and beings eager and desirous of fulfilling their evolution and becoming perfected beings in some future scheme. I have watched mankind use a piece of furniture or a piece of paper and, when the required need is over, discard it roughly and carelessly. How, think you, do the electrons within that item feel? Think you it is idly that Saint Germain has suggested that when such an article has served its purpose, it be placed in the physical flame, and the electrons freed to return to the sun? This is a universal teaching applying to all. I have seen a withered flower crushed and thrown carelessly into the garbage. How, think you, the beautiful electrons that made up that flower must feel? Rather than the gratitude of the life stream that enjoyed them, freeing them through the flame into the universal. This refers to everything that serves mankind, not only people, but the very rugs beneath one's feet, the outworn shoe or the discarded note upon which a message has been transcribed. Beloved ones, as you pass through the course of your daily outer world activities, if you would learn to be aware of these lovely intelligent electrons that make up the atoms of life, and would help them on their course by love and gratitude and prayer, you would find your world so filled with the substance of God in money and supply that you would have to secure help to dispense of your opulence. The electrons that form the material wealth of this universe love the God quality of love, and they will seek to be in the presence and in the aura of one so loving. Remember the line from the song, "Ah, sweet mystery of life, oh, 'tis love and love alone the world is seeking." So now we know, but I mean, if you think about the time in the Garden of Eden, or before we fell from grace, we fell, the fall of man, we didn't have to have these, the elementals weren't caught in what they're caught in now with these dense, these dense objects, whether it's homes, cars, furniture, whatever it is. So now the elemental life is actually serving us in these more denser objects. Whereas before it would all be literally, we would precipitate it and then dematerialize it when it was not needed. And that's what we're going to be going back to. All right, so this is lovely. We keep getting to the end now because we're running out of time. But this is an elemental visits the karmic board. And here it's just a lovely story told by El Moira of this tiny little elemental that goes to the karmic board with his petition. And it just brings again the consciousness and the intelligence of these beloved elemental beings. This is an excerpt from the Bridge to Freedom Journal, Book 5, by our beloved El Moira. It is a gorgeous story of a tiny little elemental bringing his petition to the great karmic board. The halls of karma wherein the karmic board hold audience have always an open door through which may pass any intelligence endeavoring to serve the earth and her evolutions. Enter therein, utilize your God-directed intelligence, become once again a part of the recreation of a beautiful planet, Earth, for yourselves and all succeeding evolutions which shall use it. The doors of the halls of karma are wide open to anyone who comes in love. I have seen an elemental no larger than the tip of this pen, who desired within himself mercy for the elemental kingdom. That elemental was carried to the halls of karma by a mighty seraphim. But whose light opened the door? Oh, the seraphim's light could open the door, But no, in love he must allow the free will of the elemental, who is so brave as to represent his species, to open that door. The elemental sitting there, not quite so brave as when he first got the idea, thinks maybe he had better go back. But he looks down, and the seraphim looks pretty strong, and he is right in the palm of her hand. And he says to himself, but suppose I go back and tell the other folks that the idea we cooked up at home wasn't so good. I'd get it back there. And if I go inside, I don't know how I'm going to speak to these beings. So he looked up very pathetically, and the seraphim saw the dewdrop tears come down from the little one's eyes. Help, help me. And the seraphim just quietly pats him, soothes those little feelings, and says, now, you release your light. It will be enough. So the elemental gets his little spine all erect again, looks up at the great big door, and thinks of the beings that have been depicted as so austere, and sends out a tiny little flicker. He pushes the door, and he bounces back. It seems funny, but it happens to be true. And then this little lightweight bounces back on the door again, and the door does not even move. And then he wishes he had not come at all. And the seraphim stays with him. Lo and behold, in time, through the light and love and patience of the seraphim, and of course with the great mercy of the karmic board, he sees that door open a couple of inches. And he quickly jumps in, for he thinks it is one of those electric eye deals that is going to close, and of course it does. Then he steps inside, and now he doesn't even have the seraphim, and he is all alone in this big, long courtyard. And he walks along on those tiny little feet, and it sounds so loud to him, for here is no one there at all. He hears his footsteps, and he is thinking out his project. He thinks and walks slower, and he thinks that this was not such a good idea. I don't know what those other beings belonging to my species meant. They should have taken the blight. They should have taken the drought. They should have taken the manure. They should have taken it. Why did they send me up here? So by this time he is at the door that is open, and he looks around, and the door is closed behind him. So he bows before beloved Portia and those great beings that are so loving, but they keep an impassionate expression on their faces, and many a time they smile behind their palms of their great hands. Then, gaining strength through their love, that tiny little one looks up. On behalf of the nature kingdom, we implore assistance through the directors of nature to remove blight, drought, and all impurities from our particular species. Then from a great height comes the voice from the mighty one, which has the tendency to shrivel the tiny one. And why just your species? Well, we hadn't considered any but our own. Beloved, it has taken strength in the extreme for you to come. We saw that strength exhibited as you so bravely came, and you asked the seraphic guard to allow you to enter the halls of karma, to appear to us. We saw the magnificent strength and beauty of your nature with which you approached us. But may we point out to you that it would be nice and kindly for you, although we give you this grant in love, that when you send another representative to us, that you shall not return without remembering all of the species, not just your own. Well, there was a quick retreat upon the departure of the strong little elemental. The doors will be open. You will not have to go through what this little fellow did. The doors will be open wide. So will many thousands of ears, not only mine, for I well know what you have in your petitions already. Oh, it's just such an amazing story because, I mean, all these stories are true. Beloved Moira tells these extraordinary stories. There's a little elemental. So that's just life is so conscious and intelligent. We've got one last thing. It's just beautiful. It's read by, not on this one, I'll have to skip this one, which is The Spirit of the Home, which we haven't got time, unfortunately, today. But we're going to, it's a beautiful decree, and Terry one of our cheetahs read it for us. It's just beautiful for the earth. We can all read it together.
Decree for the earth. Blessed, beloved Virgo, goddess divine and mother of our dear earth, we, the unascended of mankind, in the name, authority, and love of our own beloved I Am Presence, most earnestly call on the law of forgiveness for all the devastation we have created upon your dear star. We call on the law of forgiveness for every shadow ever created here and for all substance which has been thus despoiled. In the most holy name of God, our very own beloved I Am Presence, we call forth oceans and oceans of the violet transmuting flame in its most powerful transmuting action to sweep, sweep, sweep in, through, and around every cell and atom of our planet, all its elementals and all mankind. Let that flame blaze in overwhelming cosmic power, doubled each instant of each hour, under the direction and from the heart of our beloved Saint Germain, Lord of the violet fire, as well as from the hearts of the beloved Portia, beloved Buddha, beloved Kuan Yin, beloved Zadkiel, and holy Amethyst. Illumine all mankind belonging to the evolutions of this earth, still unascended, whether in or out of embodiment at this time, concerning the merciful gift of this flame to all life, who will use it and help all to consciously, lovingly cooperate with its ever-present, tireless, and limitless release, which makes all things right, as it is persistently called forth, and its loving service accepted. Beloved Virgo, we love, bless, and thank you without limit for the gift of your life to us all in sustaining our planet as a platform beneath our feet so that we might have a place of habitation upon which to work out our individual and collective destinies. The persistent use of the violet fire, which we have called forth from above, shall redeem your and our sweet earth, making it freedom's star, dazzling as the noonday sun, in the full perfection in which it was created by the seven mighty Elohim, whom we also love, bless, and thank for their great service to us all. We consciously accept this done right now. We consciously accept this done right now. We consciously accept this done right now, eternally sustained, all powerfully active and world engulfing, until all are wholly ascended and free. Beloved I am, beloved I am, beloved I am.
Our beloved earth. And so I'd just like to think, Diana, beloved, do you have a screen? Are you able to read the closing invocation for us?
I shall attempt to. Thank you, beloved.
Thank you.
Beloved, I am presence and beloved Master Kutumi. Nourish the seeds planted in my consciousness so that the ideas entrusted to me become manifest flowers of perfect expression in my world and the world of all my fellow men. Beloved presence of God, I am. Pour the light of thy great glory upon my consciousness and nourish the seeds planted by the masters. We thank you.
Thank you. Well, thank you, everybody. So that's the end now. Just a moment. We'll just take a moment of deep gratitude, really, for these marvelous teachings. And just so that we learn also about our beloved elemental kingdom and how we can actually start to create that heaven on earth, which is our responsibility to do, and for just the blessings that we receive from our earth, and often, as they say, unsung and unheard, the beloved elementals and the angels too, and our opportunity to serve the light. We're just deeply grateful, and we just thank our own beloved Divine Presence and the great Ascended Masters also for the assistance we receive. Now, thank you, everybody. I'm going to stop the record, and then